Crypto assets are tanking. Why is that? Let's cover it now. And we'll throw in a bit of DeFi news. And at the very, very end, something I'm quite bullish on in terms of gaming. So Cardano, XRP, Sol, BTC, everything basically fell after this White House crypto summit. Was not a bullish experience at all. We can see a whole sea of red here. That was not good. One good thing though, Trump administration to rescind and amend all previous IRS crypto guidelines, so we could see some improvements there. Michael Saylor actually advised 25%, trying to acquire up to 25% for the US government of the entire Bitcoin network, which would, be absolutely insane, but it would offset debt and it would kind of lead to this price go higher idea. David Sachs said that Cardano, Sol, and XRP were just mentioned by Trump because they're among the top cryptocurrencies by market cap. So, Trump has been advised by people in this, and he's saying what he doesn't really understand. He mentioned something like, people say you should hold your Bitcoin, whether or not that's true, who knows? Like, he doesn't understand this area, and he's been advised by stuff, and he's not going off script or anything like that, which kind of, it makes it a little bit funny to watch, but also not very good for the market. In general, we're not going to see a pump really that's going to last very long anyway because of the general market conditions. But overall, we can see that our beloved token, whatever it may be, may not make it to the cut. And if it does, it's probably because of some lobbying power as opposed to like actually a desire to have a more decentralized world. Bitcoin is now more likely to drop below 75K than to reach 100K. This is per Polymarket. Keep in mind though, and Polymarket's a very good source for predicting these things. Keep in mind though, this is by the March 31st. 100K is 23% and 75K is 31%. But it's more likely that's 80 or 95. Don't be too threatened by this. But in general, it's not going to be a very fun month, to be perfectly honest. However, US banks can now hold stablecoins, act as validators, and custody crypto. In general, we have this massive push for more people to come into the space in terms of like institutions, which will drive demand because it'll be an easier UI UX. They don't have to self-custody, etc., etc., etc. So we're lined up for something good. But there's still people on the timeline calling for recessions. And I've taken out some of it today because I don't want to go over these ideas, but I'll go over a couple of things. Japan's ruling party proposes reducing Bitcoin gains tax. Unsure if it's going to be approved, but once one country starts to do it, then others start to do it, and there's more of a reason to hold these assets. Also, you may have seen that the NASDAQ is going to have 24-hour trading. If you saw that and thought, oh my goodness, they're eating into crypto's forte, you're right, but it's not coming until second half of 2026, so we've got plenty of time for sure. Now, this is where we're going to see recession alerts. Now, a recent spike in US job cut announcements has been absolutely massive, the most since the 2020 crisis. I'm not a financial advisor, but we are not in any sort of recession or anything like that. Things are still going to be fine. 18.6 year property cycle. That's what I'm using as my guidelines, but I'm not a financial advisor. But you will see this. It gets a lot of engagement. I don't even know why we've liked it. I guess helpful, but it's kind of like a bit of a counter signal. This is a similar spike as during the 2008 Great Financial Crisis and the 2001 recession. 2001 recession was a recession, but it wasn't a property recession. It was a bubble popping. China's imposing 100% tariffs on select Canadian imports. So we are going to see this massive tariff war. And a book I read a few years ago, which I'll reference maybe on Monday, is starting to look like it's going to come true. Summary is like hustle. Hustle during this period. You need a hustle. Whole lot of red in the market. We can see this. Not a good day to see it, but it's a weekend. We generally stay away from DLMMing or even trading on the weekend. There's less out there. Fair and Greed's at 28. So it's dropped a little bit. We're a little bit more fearful. Still, a good time to maybe DCA into the dip. Not financial advice, but what I'm happy to do. And having a look at the calendar here, not a whole lot going on. We've got the SIMD 0228 vote, which I'll go over. Your JUP vote, we'll cover that as well, but make sure you vote regardless. And there's a DRIP collectible claim on today as well. Voting has begun, which could reduce Sol inflation by 80%. Not bullish on this. It's been rushed and it's certainly not bullish. Thus far, more yes votes compared to no votes. But we've got time. There's only 52 validators that have actually voted. And maybe we're going to see a pretty decent number, ideally, vote. Circle mints another 250 million of USDC on Solana. Circle has minted now a total of 9.5 billion on Solana since the start of 2025. Typically what we see here is when money is minted, it starts to push up prices. Generally, not always the case, but generally. However, you can see it's been minted, but it hasn't actually pushed up the prices yet. It's kind of like the reserves are there and it'll push them up pretty soon, I think. JUP calendar here, make sure you bookmark this. Same deal as before, vote and drip, but all the other JUP stuff, the different planetary cores, cadets PPP, all this stuff here, this is where you can work out what's going on. Remember to vote. I voted yes. You're welcome to vote no. There's a whole lot of FUD out there and the price of JUP is tanking, but I'm not worried. I'm just not worried. They've got revenue, they've got products, they've got a very, very competent team. And remember, if you vote yes for Meow to get a bonus, it can be vetoed if he doesn't perform. Like that has to be kept in mind. It's just putting a bit of trust in someone. In the traditional world, like Elon Musk or whatever, they're going to get these sort of things. What's going to happen is, you know, if they buy back the shares, they'll then give them to Tesla. If they buy back the Tesla shares, they'll then give them to Elon Musk. This is just getting the community involved, and it's going to pass. There's just, you know, some people that haven't done all the research, which I get. There's a whole lot to research, and they don't have a different viewpoint, or they have a different viewpoint. They don't want to see a different viewpoint, and that's okay. You're welcome to have a different viewpoint. Cash covers it here. Of course, you know, there is a bias here from the team. They want this to go because they want Meow to be appreciated. There's a whole lot of stuff, which is like people that just don't know what talent is. And we'll go over this really quickly. Here's the questions, or here's the comments, and here's the answers. We shouldn't sell JUP to pay for the team, correct? And this has not been market sold. It's been vested with a 1-year cliff. And then it gets vested. And yes, you can sell. You do want the JUP out there. That's how you get price discovery. If the most of the supply was out there, it could tank, but then it could take off if people believed in it. And people do believe in it. Team is overpaid. Definitely not the case here. Like, I don't know what their salaries are. I don't know what their bonuses are, but they need to be sizable. There'll be different people. There's people in cryptography experts that I mentioned before. You could make $10 million a year, you know, working for a blockchain. In terms of like lock tokens and whatnot. We should use a JUP for active staking rewards instead of giving it to the team. I don't even think active staking rewards are a good idea. I think they should move to a Futagi system in the future. Active staking rewards are like a bit of a cop-out. You just go and click a button, you get a reward. I think these should probably reduce heavily and be worked out a different way. We need the team to have accountability, which is completely fine and agree, but this comes in the form of vesting and ideally like the transparency stuff that I talked about in another video. And talking about team comp is disheartening to community members who do not make a fraction as much money in their jobs. The reality is, like, if you don't have the skills to pay the bills, then of course we live in a meritocracy for the most part. If you had the skills to pay the bills, you would be hired and then you would be paid more. That's generally how it works. Camino has now changed their JLP setup, so there's no origination fee, and you can now 6x multiply. I wouldn't 6x multiply because I just wouldn't, but you if you're going to hold JLP, I do multiply. All my JLP is multiplied in Camino. Big fan of this. Bonk has introduced Bonk AI. Nothing much in terms of news. It's just kind of, you can learn about Bonk. It's ecosystem core products. So you can click on this link, check it out. I just think in general, Bonk will make a comeback. It's just not the right time. No meme friends are making a comeback. We can clearly see that. And this is probably some of the biggest news, something that I'm really, really bullish on. And I'd love to have a chat with Edgar, who's co-founder of Mountain DAO. Didn't make it to Mountain DAO this year. It's twice a year in Utah. It's where devs just get together and they build stuff and they work out problems and network. Sounds really, really cool. They are creating their own token, Mountain, MTN. This will be a Futagi DAO. Everything will be done via Futagi, hires, compensation, all that sort of stuff. And it'll be launched by MetaDAO. So MetaDAO has a token, it's Meta. You may want to DCA into this. I'm bullish on this. I think it's pretty cool. And I'll be covering this a whole lot because I actually properly believe in it. So this is the first project for the Launchpad. This will be on last March. And it's a radical experiment. And this could become like Gitcoin on Ethereum. If you don't know what that is, massive market cap, provides a whole lot of value to the space. It's more of one of those things that it provides value to the space. Like, I like to think that I provide value to Solana by putting all this information together, and people can kind of get a condensed view, and then they can go off and make decisions they want. Something like this brings this community of devs, which is very important because other people that build the cool products, which people then ape into, that brings their economic activity. to actually get amongst it. End-to-end Mountain Capital will be governed by Futagi after token sale. So like founder team allocations, Mountain airdrops, investment decisions, maybe not salaries, but will be decided fully through Futagi proposals and on-chain. I am super, super excited for this, and I'll cover it more and more. We don't have any details yet in terms of how much they're trying to raise or whatnot, but we'll have to see how it is. It's an experiment. It's not going to be like necessarily a hypey thing, but it could grow to become one of the most like valuable products in Solana for actually creating more and more devs to come into space. Got some more big news from Meteora. By the way, just before I mention this, remember EURC and USDC pool is incentivized on Meteora. If you've got those stables, go put them to work, farm them. It's pretty easy. You can go and find the pool on Meteora. But big news, GoFund memes is now supported by Meteora's dynamic AMM pools. Also, this is probably like the best decision, because then maybe they get MET points, maybe they don't, maybe they do. But this is absolutely brilliant. Meteora is going to take over. I've been saying it for ages. Learn it. It's not a good day to like be DLMMing on the weekend with like new pairs and whatnot. The liquidity kind of dries up. But in general, well done to this. This collaboration is very worthwhile. And the final thing I'll talk about is DeFi Dungeons and Tickers Gold token generation event on March 19th. Prepare your gold pouches. This is a game. I'll show you in a second. I've covered it briefly. It was a massive pre-sale that was done before. It has got a lot of hype, a lot of attention, and I think it will do well. It's from the same team that brought you Heist and Remnants. Heist launched, they made mistakes, but they also did like a really good job, and they've learned a lot from that. So I think this will bring in a whole lot of people from different ecosystems. I will probably make a massive amount of videos on it, like I did with the Heist, and do live streaming on it as well. So I'll be playing the game, getting some NFTs, getting some gold. Gold will be launched using Meteora's Alpha Vault technology, so there'll be no front running. This reduces the hype of a token, but it's more important for a game like this because in the previously they were always botted by Nansen, and now this is like far more fair. It's an anti-bot mechanism. The vault will be open for 24 hours. I will ping you. We'll work out the tokenomics once we've got some more details, and the Git book will be released next week prior to token generation event. And I will be playing and live streaming this. I think this will be really, really fun. If you haven't seen any mock-ups on it, we don't have much, but what we do have is like this feel. It's kind of like DeFi Kingdom. It's a bit of a role-playing game, an RPG, but it's an idle game. You don't have to go in there for an hour. It's like 5 minutes a day. You go in, you enter quests, you get your gold, you sell your gold, you upgrade your weapons, you upgrade your NFTs or something like that, and then you sell them and whatnot. It's a whole economy. I think it's going to be pretty worthwhile. Really, really hard to get whitelists. If you did a pre-sale, the pre-sale was months ago last year, and they've been building. I don't know what you're going to do right now, to be perfectly honest. I just don't know. In order to get one, just jump into Discord. You probably have to like try and get a roll or something. Yeah, but bullish, very, very bullish. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and catch these videos over here.